Hello and welcome to Moving Past You. I'm your host, Juanita Gaynor, and this is just a brief nugget of wisdom. Today's discussion, we're going to be talking about handling the fear of success. And one of my favorite scriptures that actually speak to this is Second Timothy, the first chapter, the seventh verse, and this will be the King James Version. And it says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind." Now, when you talk about the fear of success, people think, well, you can't be afraid of being successful. But in actuality, you can. And speaking from experience, it can be very, very crippling. The fear of success is just as paralyzing as the fear of failure. Many people fear success because it tests their limits and it makes them vulnerable to new situations. Even worse, success can expose weaknesses and force people to deal with their flaws. One of the main reasons that I was, afraid, my fear of success was is that I did not want to put in the work to do more. Because, as you say, to whom much is given, much is required. I didn't want to do that much as required. So therefore, I never went above a plateau because my fear it was, okay, if this really works, I'm really going to have to get out there and do that. That I'm really going to have to invest into it. You know, Success is scary because it involves change. Success can be intimidating because it can be hard to handle. With success comes more challenges and more responsibilities, and that can be threatening to someone who is okay in the status quo. Sometimes people fear success because they don't want to know if they can live up to their achievements. And what I mean by that is, say you are really, really great at numbers. You have been working numbers all your life. You can literally put a budget together blindfolded. You can analyze numbers. You can tell people how to break it down. You can do all these things. However, you won't go for that promotion because the fear is like, okay, if I get it, can I really live up to that role? And so most people just kind of stay back in the cut and be mediocre because they don't want to feel like if I get it, I can't do it. You know, a lot of people, and including myself, and I have had this issue, is it's like I didn't think I was good enough. I knew I was smart, but I didn't think I was good enough. You know, I was sometimes afraid that I didn't have what it took to rise to the challenge. And the biggest fear for me was, will I be able to sustain that success once I reach it? So it's like, okay, I can get to it or whatever, but will I be able to maintain it? Will I be able to go to the next level? Will I continue to be able to evolve into the things that I want to do? And that is a big fear for a lot of people. So I have about a few tips that you can look into, you can take, I've taken them as well, to help you overcome this fear. Number one, accept yourself as being healthy, together, happy, successful, prosperous, and accomplished. And this goes into self care, self talk, self motivation. I'm going to be honest, if you have, childhood flaws and hurts, whatever, you need to speak to a therapist. And this is just a personal opinion. I am not a therapist, but speaking with a therapist is like a third party who's not involved in your day to day that can give you an unbiased layout of what the things you're going through in your life. They can, open you up to say, okay, you're reading too much into this. Yes, you're justified in feeling this way, but this is how you can deal with it. Girlfriends are great, but it's great to have someone who has been specifically trained to handle trauma and handle life balances for individuals. So that is great. A great way to get to the point where you're being, have a healthy acceptance and outlook on yourself. Number two, don't give yourself any excuses for being unsuccessful. We'll just say, oh, I don't have the time. well, I think I can do it, but I just don't think I'll be able to make it last. There's no excuse. The only thing, if I'd rather stumble and fail than to not have done it at all. And so that has been my take on moving towards being successful. Three, have honest, open, realistic self talk that encourages you to work your hardest to achieve the goals that you have for your life. And that is another thing I personally feel for me, what has been the best is having a great therapist. I do study my word. I am in prayer. When I looked out for my therapist, I prayed on that. It was like the therapist I have, it was like God directed me to this person. And so definitely seek God in prayer, use the resources that He's giving you to be able to help you, the inner you, heal and reflect what you need to reflect. You know, Number four is still the biggest issue for me, and I know it's a lot for people, and it's accept compliments and the recognition of others with an open heart and mind. Because I've been hurt, because I've been misled, I always think that people, when they say good things to me, they are they have some ulterior motive. So when they say it, I'm always looking at them with a side eye, side view. I don't really believe them. I want to know what they're up to and what they want. And so once I started to begin to just say, you know what, that person said, gave me a great compliment. They said they loved the show. They said they loved my poem. They loved the blog. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, just a personal testimony. I was late for work one day, which I thought was late for work, and I didn't realize that God had another plan. So there was a young lady there who we tend to get on the train at the same time, and I said, "Hey, you running late today?" And she was just like, "No, I just came in late." She's like, "I had a really bad week last week and whatever." And even though my week was bad, I didn't kind of, like harp on it. And she was talking, and I just began to pour into her and to minister to her, and we left it at that. Well, 2 days later, we was on to at the we was on time this particular day, and she said, "Thank you so much." She's like, "Your words and that really helped me get through that day." All I said was thank you. I am so glad I was able to pour into you. Now, before I would have just been like, oh, no big deal. Oh, it's okay. So I've learned to stop doing that. And it's a process that I'm working through. So when someone gives you a compliment or they give you, recognition, accept it with an open heart and an open mind. Okay. Number five, you must learn to reinforce yourself for the hard work, effort, and sacrifices you've made to achieve success. And what that means is that you have to kind of do a balance. You're going to have to put in, there'll be some nights that'll be longer than others. There may be a time you may not be able to go with your girlfriends, or your family or your guy friends to, that particular, outing of football, but there's an opportunity to go later. You have to have a great balance so that you're not completely so focused on success that you miss the little things. Like you miss the kids, recitals, or graduations, or the little pictures that they draw, just enjoying those small moments. you know Number six is a big one. Begin to express your views and opinions on topics without hesitation. If you know that you have that knowledge and that you have the skill set, go ahead and speak, and you have the facts in place, and you've done the research, and you know what you know. Speak up. Give your opinion. Talk about it. You know, People can agree, disagree, or whatever, but begin to express yourself as the expert or the authority that you are in the topic in which God has given you and the purpose for your life. You know, seven, begin to visualize and speak what success will look like in your life. And when I say that, success does look different for everyone. Success for me is to be able to take a vacation with my entire family for if I wanted to do it for 3 weeks and not have to worry about the money. I want to be able to just take my family and let us enjoy a great vacation. You may just want to, success for you may be completing your PhD or your master's or obtaining a board of directors position, whatever success looks like for you. Begin to visualize it and speak it into the atmosphere. You know, eight, which is another big one, giving others credit, recognition, and support for their personal achievements and successes and accomplishments. Just like you want somebody to pat you on the back, you have to reciprocate that. Now, don't get me wrong, you may not get the same thing. However, you have to be Christ like and you have to love your neighbor as you would yourself. And so, therefore, it's an open practice. And as you begin to give that credit and recognition and that support, when you receive it, you'll know what it feels like. You'll appreciate it because you've been giving it out, you've been living it, you've been the example of it. And finally, recognize and welcome the chance to triumph over competition without feeling unworthy or undeserving. And what that means is you were chosen to do the job, or you got the big contract, or you got the project. Do not feel like you're unworthy. You received that because you were qualified for the job. And also, you got to understand God's favor is unmerited. When God positions you, when God places you, when God makes a decision that's what's going to be for your life, that is what He's going to do. And there's nothing that no one can do about that. The only person that can stop that is you. We are our own worst enemies when it comes to the plans and the purpose and everything that God has for us. He sees us in the best lights. He's forgiven us. He loves us. He has shown us that we have to come out of our own heads. We have to move past ourselves so that we can really truly see the light at the end of the tunnel so that we can get to the end game. So my question is, what are the things are you putting into place, for the rest of this year and the coming year so you can put fear in its place once and for all? And so, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, you can go to Facebook and search for Moving Past You. Go ahead and join the group and actually answer that question. I will have these show notes in the group. It's called, you'll look for Nuggets of Wisdom and go ahead and search for that and put your answer. What are you putting into place so that you can put fear in its place once and for all? The fear of us not doing anything, the fear of success, the fear of stability, whatever fear you have, what are you doing to put it in its place? Well, I want to thank you so much for listening to Nuggets of Wisdom on Moving Past You. And again, if you're not a part of our Facebook community, go on Facebook, search for Moving Past You, and join the group. It is a public, open group. There's show notes, you can get bonus content, and we can answer these questions and have these discussions amongst other peers. And as I leave you with this one final note, always remember to be kind in your word, your thought, and your deed. We'll see you soon.